Ashboro Public Library. I'm here at my kitchen table again, and I'm excited to show you a art form that's been around about 500 years. It's called paper quilling. The reason it's called quilling is because people used to wrap strips of paper around a feather quill and to make it curl, and then they would manipulate it into shapes to come up with some really cool designs. So we're going to play with some paper quilling ideas today, and hopefully you'll be able to come up with something fun that you can do. This is a great exercise for adults and children and of all ages, and even if you just end up with a sort of a abstract curly sculpture, that's a great thing too, just for hand-eye coordination and fine motor skills. It's really good to help your children just work on their bilateral coordination. So I need some of that myself. So first I'm going to show you a few things that you're going to need to do some paper quilling, just with some things that you will have around your house. Okay, for our quilling project today, you're just going to need some paper. You can use colored paper like construction paper, or I also have this colored paper that I cut into some 1/4-inch strips. You could even cut it thinner if you're able to. If you don't have colored paper, you could also use, this is like an old calendar or magazines, and you can also use this lined paper to cut your paper into strips. I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. For today's project, you're also going to need something really thin to wrap your paper around, like this toothpick. I've also got a little short dowel, a longer dowel. Another thing you could use is a cooking skewer, or even a pair of chopsticks would work too. You're also going to need some glue. I've got a glue stick and just regular Elmer's glue here, and a pair of scissors. I cut these strips out with a paper cutter at the library, but if you don't have a paper cutter at home, and I don't have one either, you can use a regular sheet of lined paper as a guide to cut out your paper strips. So what I did is I just taped it on top of this recycled piece of calendar that I'm going to use, and you can just take some scissors and cut along the blue lines, and then you'll have a bunch of thin strips of paper that you can use for quilling. Now, parents, cutting along a line or cutting in general is just really good for developing children's hand-eye coordination. Of course, you're going to want to use age-appropriate scissors, and I'm a grown-up, so I'm using grown-up scissors. But it's really just good for bilateral coordination, and the quilling in and of itself will be really great for fine motor skills. Now I have lots of colorful strips of paper, and I have some white paper too. Okay, so the next part is, this is the fun part. All you have to do is wrap the paper around your thin round stick, whatever you use. I'm using the skewer, and you're just going to wrap it so it just curls around itself. Just going to keep turning it, and you want to do it really tight if you can, or as tight as you can. It doesn't have to be that tight, because the paper will remember how you're turning it. And you just want to maybe hold it there for a minute. And then you can just slide it off the stick, let go, and then you have this little tight curl, see? And you'll use that to either keep it a round shape like this, or you can turn it into other shapes. So I think what I'm going to do is just make a bunch of these to begin with, and then we can play with them and see what we can come up with. So once you have a curly round shape, you can actually kind of shape these, take these and mold them into a new shape. Like if you pinch it on both sides like this, then you'll have like kind of like an eye shape. Or it could be maybe like a petal shape on a flower or a leaf. You can also stretch your curly shapes out a little bit if you want them to be like bigger curls, and then you can just sort of glue the end piece and make it a nice round big circle like this. And here's some pieces I shaped and kind of molded. I kind of gave it a flat edge on one side, and on this one I did the same, I pinched it to make it a little flat on one side and then pinched it again to make it pointy on this end. So there's lots of different shapes that you can make with these. And this one I even was a big spiral, kind of like this one, and then I just sort of folded it, flattened it out, and then I thought it made kind of like a long leaf shape. So this curly shape right here kind of reminded me of a snail shell. So I decided to go ahead and make a snail, and I did a big orange swirly shape right in here, and I just put a yellow piece of paper around it, coming up this way, and then I did two little small swirls right here for the snail's eyes, and then I went in and glued a little triangular piece that I just took, like one of these swirly shapes, and I just sort of made my fingers into the shape of a triangle, kind of like that. And that's how I kind of came up with the triangle shape that went inside the snail. So I really like this little yellow shape that I made that looks sort of like an eye. So I decided to just glue the extra flap down like that. And then I made a whole bunch of them. And I thought, I think I'm gonna make maybe a flower with these. So I could make a flower with maybe like a purple center, or maybe I could make it into the sunshine. When you come up with the design that you like, you can just put some liquid glue into like a paper plate or a plastic lid if you have one, and you can just pick up your quill pieces and pat them in the glue and then stick them down, and then that is how you can get them to stay. So I quilled some of the white pieces of paper that I'd cut out from the regular lined paper, and I thought, I bet you this will look kind of like a puffy cloud if I put them together. So I kind of just arranged them until I thought they looked like a good cloud shape, and now I'm going to glue these down. Of course, you don't have to make recognizable objects with your quill paper. You could just make some fun designs. The best part is just sort of playing and experimenting and enjoying the process of creating. I made this funny shape, and I thought it reminded me of a cactus, so then I made another one and put it on top, and then there's another little shape. Ta-da! Now it's kind of like a little mini desert. I also noticed that if you put two teardrop shapes together, then they make like a little heart, and that would be maybe a great idea for Valentine's Day coming up. You could also make a heart by taking a piece of paper and folding it in half, and then you'll curl the one side toward the fold, like that, and then you'll curl the other side also toward the fold. You might have to play with it a little bit, but then you got like a little heart. So another thing you could do is you could make a circle shape and then fill it with a bunch of smaller curled shapes. And I was kind of thinking that sort of reminded me of a turtle shell, so I may make that one into a turtle. So I took a round quilled shape and I pinched it kind of like this to give it a flat side. I thought that kind of looked like a little turtle head. And then I kind of made this shape for his arm and another one like it here, and this little triangle shape. It's gonna make a tail, and I think I'll use these for his back legs. So here's just a few fun ideas that you can make with your little quilled curly shapes. And again, you don't have to do a recognizable object. You could just do different colored design. That would be really great too. And if you do come up with something fun that you'd like to share, please email it to us at ashborochildrensroom@gmail.com. And we would love to put it up on our gallery page with your first name and your age. I hope you had fun doing some paper quilling. I can't wait to see what some of the things that you came up with. I decided to go ahead and make my recycled paper turtle into a little card for Miss Alexis because I know that she likes turtles. And then I made this little snail into another card, and I put some sort of leaves underneath him so he'd have some place to sit. And this is going to be for Miss Emily because she loves snails. And I decided to go ahead and make my scene with the cactus into like a desert scene. And I'll probably give this one to Miss Sam because I know that she loves cacti and all things desert plants. So, and she also likes happy yellow suns. Well, I hope you have fun coming up with some neat art crafts with your paper quilling. And I will see you next time in 2 weeks when we're going to do some fun recycled Valentine ideas that I'm going to show you. And it's going to be, again, a great way to just stick around your house and not have to run out to the store and buy a lot of supplies. So I will see you next time when we stick around. Bye.